Mark Epstein, Thoughts Without a Thinker, Psychotherapy from a Buddhist Perspective. In Thoughts Without a Thinker, Psychotherapy from a Buddhist Perspective, Mark Epstein explores the parallels between Buddhist philosophy and psychoanalysis, shedding light on the ways they both deal with the concept of self and the root of all suffering. This book summary presents the fascinating link between Buddhism's three poisons, desire, anger, and delusion, and the concepts of eros and thanatos from Freud's psychoanalysis. Dive in and explore how both disciplines tackle issues of the self and the consequent psychological turmoil, offering insights into how Buddhist techniques like meditation and compassion can help alleviate these afflictions.
Three poisons. The wheel of life is a Buddhist representation of existence where desire, anger, and delusion, symbolized by a green snake, a red rooster, and a black hog respectively, are at the center of the wheel. These three poisons prevent us from understanding our true selves and keep us bound to the world, causing all suffering. Freud's psychoanalysis recognizes the same concepts as eros and thanatos and describes desire and anger as the primary sources of psychological pain. In Greek mythology, eros represents the life drive, similar to the Buddhist snake of desire, and thanatos represents the death drive, explaining the human inclination towards anger. Freud contends that death is involved in every aspect of our psyche, producing anger deep within us. Simply being yelled at by another person is enough to evoke thoughts of death and avoid confrontations. Delusion and the self in Buddhism and psychoanalysis. Delusion is the third core of the Buddhist wheel of life, represented by the black hog. It is the hindrance to perceiving ourselves accurately. This understanding of delusion is linked to behavioral disorders, such as dissociative disorder, in psychoanalysis. Both Buddhism and psychoanalysis emphasize the importance of comprehending the true nature of the self to achieve enlightenment and overcome delusion. Buddhist enlightenment is partly based on grasping the meaning of no self, which is different from the ego. Buddhists believe the ego can be used in meditation to reveal the absence of self and attain enlightenment. Similarly, the concept of a false self is central to the psychoanalytic perspective, which states that we're likely to comprehend a false self when we need something else to hold on to and satisfy our every desire. Understanding and overcoming delusion is crucial in both Buddhism and psychoanalysis. The conflict between our authentic nature and societal expectations. As children, we are conditioned to conform to society's expectations, often leading to the suppression of our true selves. This suppression can result in deep-rooted psychological trauma and a distorted sense of self. Narcissism is linked to an inflated self, while depression often stems from a deflated sense of self. In a culture that values individualism and competitiveness, it's important to recognize the conflict between our authentic nature and societal expectations to avoid long-term harm to our mental well-being. Buddhism's cure for mental illnesses. Mental illnesses arise from a disproportionate sense of self, whether inflated or deflated. To transcend attachment to the self, Buddhism offers meditation and compassion. Buddhist meditation quietens the mind and enables clear thinking. By practicing it for long enough, one can understand how the self is empty by nature. Compassion, too, is central to Buddhism and the key to real happiness. When you behave with compassion, you instinctively put the needs of others before your own to avoid narcissistic behavior. Buddhism is primarily concerned with unearthing the delusion of the true self and understanding the true nature of the self as simply emptiness. The hungry ghosts within us. The book explains how the metaphor of hungry ghosts embodies the Western society's insatiable desire for possessions and attachments. It further elaborates on the impact of loneliness and abandonment on Westerners, leading to low self-esteem. In contrast, Eastern culture's emphasis on societal norms leads to an inflated sense of self-regard. The book suggests ways for Westerners to address their emotional pain and satisfy their hungry ghosts. The power of bare attention. The author discusses the benefits of Buddhist technique of bare attention in accepting emotions non-judgmentally. The approach helps handle emotions easily and is more powerful than psychoanalysis. The author presents Sid's case, who learned to live with his pain by harnessing the meditative power of bare attention. John Cage used this technique to expand his creative repertoire and accept irritating sounds. The book presents Freud's idea of how modern transitional objects help babies cope with emotions, but Buddhists discovered this approach centuries ago. Mastering mindfulness. Mindfulness is the art of being present and focusing on the body and breath. It involves training the mind to exist in the present moment without being distracted by thoughts of the future or past events. The Buddha found that when the mind and body are in harmony, humans feel less alienated. Breathing techniques are often used in meditative practices to stay present. Focusing on the present helps one feel the gentle passage of time, stay grounded, and become more in tune with sensations. Overall, mindfulness is the first step to moving beyond the emptiness and suffering of living with a false sense of self in mind.
In conclusion, Mark Epstein's Thoughts Without a Thinker insightfully compares Buddhism and psychoanalysis, highlighting their similarities in understanding the self and the root of suffering. By examining concepts like desire, anger, delusion, eros, thanatos, and the wheel of life, the book demonstrates how the blending of psychoanalytic and Buddhist approaches can lead to a healthier understanding of the self, and the potential to address different types of psychological issues. By embracing Buddhist techniques such as meditation, compassion, and mindfulness, individuals can work towards gaining a better sense of the present, transcending attachments to the self and finding a more fulfilling and balanced existence.